The book of Leviticus may say more about food than perhaps any other book in the Bible, and we hear about it with the different types of sacrifices of animals and of different types of grain. As I've jokingly call it, it's like the barbecue book of the Bible, because we constantly hear that the smell of the sacrifices is a pleasing aroma to the Lord. And then in Leviticus chapter 11, we have an entire chapter which is about what foods are clean and okay for God's people to eat, and what foods are unclean. And in some ways, it's interesting because God's kind of nudging the people towards a healthy diet. They're not supposed to eat pork or ham or bacon, nothing that comes from a pig. Those things are high in fat and high in cholesterol. And interestingly, also, not supposed to eat some things that people on Cape Cod like to eat a lot. Listen to Leviticus chapter 11, verse 10, where it says, "But anything in the seas or the streams that does not have fins and scales, of the swarming creatures in the waters and among all the other living creatures that are in the waters, they are detestable to you." So what's so disappointing to Cape Codders is that means we're not supposed to eat lobster or crab. Now some of you may be saying, oh my goodness, does this mean if I'm going to be faithful that for the rest of my life I can't eat lobster and crab? Well, I have good news for you. Because when we turn to the Gospels, one of the things that Jesus is doing is trying to guide people towards the truth that it's not the food that we consume that makes a person holy or acceptable to God, because what we eat basically goes in one end and goes out the other. Jesus puts it this way in Mark chapter 7. He said, "Then do you also fail to understand? Do you not see that whatever goes into a person from the outside cannot defile, since it enters not the heart, but the stomach, and goes out into the sewer? Thus he declared all foods clean." And then Jesus goes on to talk about how it's the behaviors that come out of our heart, evil intentions, fornication, theft, murder, adultery, avarice, wickedness, slander, pride, and folly, and several other things, that's what defiles a person. But you know, what we eat and our traditions can be so important. They can be so shaping, it can be hard to shake them, even when Jesus is very clear here. So in Acts chapter 10, we see Peter, raised a Jew, someone who's never eaten unclean food from the book of Leviticus. He has this vision of this kind of heavenly picnic basket blanket with all different kinds of food, and there were all kinds of four-footed creatures and different types of food. And Peter hears a voice saying, "Get up, Peter, kill and eat." And he refuses multiple times. And then the voice says to him in Acts 10, verse 15, "What God has made clean, you must not call profane." And again, the point is, from Leviticus to the Gospel of Mark and Matthew to Acts, what we eat doesn't make us clean or holy. It's what comes out of our heart that matters the most.